welcome to Elements of Ayurveda, Empowering Wisdom of Life. I'm your host, Colette, and in this podcast, I hope to empower you to take charge of your own health by sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition from India. We will also discuss topics like health and wellness, nutrition, yoga, fitness, meditation, breath work, and much more, as well as interviewing lots of inspiring people along the way. My humble wish is to help you to connect to your true nature, to Mother Nature, and to each other. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe to the show, and the new episodes will automatically download for you to enjoy. If you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend you listen to the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. I've also set up a Facebook group for us to connect and to support each other, and I'd love for you to join me over at Elements of Ayurveda podcast group. And now, here's the show. Hello, and welcome to Elements of Ayurveda. Today, I'm going to talk all about summertime, in particular about Ayurveda's guidelines to help us transition from spring to summer, and especially to keep us cool and calm during the summer season. Now, you'll definitely want to stay around to the end of this episode where I'm going to offer a free 3-day smoothie challenge. I do this every year at the start of summer, and I want you to join me. So stay tuned to the end of the episode. I'll be giving out all the details of where you can get your smoothie recipes for this free 3-day smoothie challenge coming up at the end of June. As we transition from spring to summer, the days get longer, brighter, and for most of us hotter, and it's a time for lots of outdoor activities in the sun. And for those of you who maybe suffer from cold hands and cold feet and have a hard time warming up during the winter months and the spring, this is a time of season you love, in particular those with a high Vata constitution. This is your season, you love the warmth. However, those with a high Pitta constitution who naturally run hot, this is a season where you have a tendency to go out of balance. And this is what we're going to discuss today. Because the characteristics of summer, which is hot and intense, are similar characteristics to that of the Pitta dosha, meaning that the environment gets hotter and that has a direct effect on our own body. Therefore, if you already have a high Pitta constitution and you run hot, and now the environment is hot and intense as well, well, that's going to cause an increase in that Pitta in your constitution. The Pitta dosha is made up of fire and water elements, and we know now that our dosha is determined at conception and it stays the same, and we each have a distinct ratio of Vata, Pitta and Kapha in our dosha, and it's unique to each individual. So for those with a high Pitta constitution or a Pitta imbalance at the moment, you're really going to have to pay attention as the summer season comes in. And the Pitta energy is dominant in the environment. Therefore, in Ayurveda, summer is considered Pitta season. Individual with a Pitta dominant dosha or an imbalance in Pitta must pay particular attention during the Pitta season of summer, when the similar energy in the environment can cause an imbalance in the body and the mind. So let's look now at some of the signs of imbalance in the Pitta dosha. Well, of course, it's going to be a lot of overheating, maybe some inflammation in the joints throughout the body, maybe some hot flashes. Then the bowel movements will also be affected. The way the body disperses heat is through the stool. So you may have some loose stool, possible diarrhea. Also, the way the body disperses heat is through the skin. And you may suffer from skin rashes, acne, hives, psoriasis, anything on the skin that's red or itchy or angry looking is generally associated with an imbalance in Pitta. Now, the eyes are the organ of Pitta, so any sensitivity in the eyes or red bloodshot eyes, burning eyes, headaches around the eyes, migraines, any sharp, intense pain in the body, that again is also a sign of imbalance in Pitta. Also, anything with heartburn, acid reflux, excess acid, ulcers, all that, again, that sharpness, that excess acidity, that's all a sign of excess pitta in the body. Any nausea or vomiting. And emotionally, an imbalance in pitta shows up with anger, impatience, frustration, irritability, intolerance, maybe feeling jealous, being overcritical, overanalytical, and having perfectionist tendencies. So all this list is the signs of imbalance. So if you're experiencing some of these symptoms, then it's likely that you're experiencing a pitta dosha imbalance. And Ayurveda recommends a summer routine which implements diet and lifestyle habits that will help you to prevent the accumulation of heat and avoiding the manifestation of these symptoms in the first place. So ideally, what you're doing is you're adjusting your diet and lifestyle with the season, therefore keeping your body in balance and preventing the accumulation of heat, which can cause the list of imbalances that I just read out. So I'm going to look now at the natural qualities of pitta. We said that pitta is made up of the elements of fire and water. And the natural qualities of pitta are hot, sharp, oily, light, acidic, mobile, and liquid. They are the qualities of the pitta dosha. Now, the summer season, as we said, has similar qualities to the pitta dosha. And as the temperatures begin to rise in the environment, the sun becomes hot and sharp and intense. But summer also, I should say, has some vata characteristics as well of mobility and expansiveness. And so we need to bring in some calming and restorative practices for the vata also. But we're primarily focusing on the pitta dosha. Now, we need to look at the Ayurvedic principle here of like increases like and opposites balance. This is key to remember. Due to the rise of the pitta energy in the environment, it causes a rise in the pitta energy in our bodies. This results in too many like qualities for the individual with a high pitta constitution. And this can cause an accumulation of excess heat in the body, resulting in the imbalances I just spoke about. So it's important to pay attention to your body, and particularly pay attention to these symptoms if you see them arising. But because if left untreated, they can manifest into something more serious down the line. But ideally, what we're doing is we're listening to our body and we're keeping our body and mind in balance by adjusting to the new season. Therefore, these symptoms never appear because we know how to manage our body. So how do you balance your pitta dosha in the summer? Well, I'm going to help you with that now. To balance the pitta dosha, we need to refer back to that same principle we just spoke about, like increases like and opposites balance. Therefore, we need to introduce the opposite qualities of pitta. Remember, I said the natural qualities of pitta are hot, sharp, oily, light, acidic, mobile, and liquid. That's the qualities of that fire and water elements of pitta. So now we're going to bring in the opposite of that. So let's go through them one by one, and I'm going to give you some tips. Let's start with the first one, which is the quality of heat. So the opposite of the hot quality is cool. So we're going to look at how do we bring the cooling quality into your food and your lifestyle and your activities now. So with food, we want to focus on bringing cooling foods into the body. That's not cool in temperature, also, although that can help. But there are foods that are considered cooling, in particular the bitter taste. The bitter taste is very cooling, like bitter greens, dandelion, kale, and collard greens. They are very cooling and pacifying to the pitta heat. Now, what I highly recommend here while I'm talking about foods is to go to your local farmer's market. I've talked about it before over and over again, that nature gives us what we need in each season to bring our bodies into balance. So if you just go to your local farmers markets, see what bitter greens are in season and eat those, that will be perfect, because then of course you're eating seasonally and you're eating unprocessed whole foods. That will be fantastic. So remember, the bitter taste is excellent for pacifying pitta. Also, other naturally cooling foods are cilantro, the herb cilantro, or as we call it, coriander in Europe. Excellent, adding this herb to your foods, to your salads, to garnishes, to your khichdi if you're making khichdi. You, of course, you could add it into guacamole or tabbouleh, or there's lots of different recipes you could use. But that is an excellent one to remember. You could also do a coriander seed tea, which is excellent as well. Just taking maybe a tablespoon of the coriander seeds and boiling them in 2 cups of water, and then allowing them to sit for a few moments to infuse, then straining and serving. That is excellent tea throughout the summer to keep you cool. Also, fennel is another seed that's very cooling, and you could do the same with the fennel seeds. You can make a tea or just adding them into your cooking. And watermelon is another cooling food. And actually the rind of watermelon, while I think of this, is very good for any skin problems. We talked about how an imbalance in pitta can cause any skin irritations, like the bites become inflamed, or mosquito bites or hives. So just rubbing the inside of the rind of the watermelon. Also, you can make a paste out of the cilantro or coriander leaf, and with just some water, make it into a pulp and put that on your skin also. That's another great cooling one. So the foods you can eat and also put on your skin. Doing a massage with coconut oil is really great. That Abhyanga massage that we talk about, that self-oil massage in the morning or the evenings, allowing the oil to sit on your skin for about 15 to 20 minutes. And so that cooling quality of coconut, and coconut is another natural cooling food, allowing that to soak into the skin, which is very porous, and we know the skin is our largest organ, so it's a great way of cooling down the body. However, it's important to wash it off afterwards, to shower after 15 to 20 minutes, because if you leave the coconut oil on your skin, then that creates a barrier to trap the heat. So you definitely want to shower off the excess. Coconut water as well is fantastic, especially if you're prone to overheating in summer. Adding coconut, shredded unsweetened coconut, into your vegetables when you're cooking them, or into your greens, is excellent as well. Of course, we have mint and cucumber as well as another cooling one, and you can add those into your water. So mint and cucumber water, that's a wonderful one to help keep you cool. If you're pitta constitution, you can enjoy salads at this time of year in the middle of the day when your digestive fire is strong. For those of you with a vata or a kapha constitution, you will really have to be mindful and see if your digestion can handle it, because normally raw foods are challenging for vata and kapha to digest. However, if it's the middle of the day, if it's a hot summer's day, you may be able to do that. That pitta energy in the environment and the heat may allow you to eat some raw foods in the middle of the day this time of year. The way you know is that if after you eat that salad, if you feel bloated and gassy, well, then it's not right for your digestion. That's the easiest way to test it out. But definitely for those of you with a high pitta constitution, you should be well able to eat and enjoy your salads in the middle of the day. So some other ways you can bring in the cooling quality is with scent and smells or aromas. Like rose is very cooling. So you could put rose in a diffuser, rose oil. Other cooling scents are mint and sandalwood, jasmine and lavender. You could use any of those as perfumes. Always recommend the natural perfumes. Rose facial spray is really great. Having a rose facial spray in a bottle, and you could even keep it in the refrigerator, and then throughout the day, if it's very hot, just spraying it on your face, and particularly on your eyes. Eyes, we said, are the organ of pitta, and they tend to get hot and tired, so that's a really wonderful way to cool down your face and eyes. And these aromas can also be diffused, as I said, in your home, in your office, in your car. The way to diffuse them in your car, you could even just put a couple of drops of the oil on a cotton wool ball and put it in your fan, where the fan is. That smell will diffuse, and it can really help keep you cool, maybe during rush hour traffic. That might be helpful. Another way to keep cool is, of course, wearing breathable fabrics like cotton. You don't want any fabrics that are going to stick to you in summertime. It's going to be really irritating and it won't allow the heat to escape. So when you're buying your summer clothes, make sure that you're buying something that's loose, light colors, and that it's also breathable. So it's taking that heat away from the body. In particular with your workout clothes, look for fabrics that have that fabric that pull the heat away from the body. So that's the cool quality. So we're balancing out the hot with cool. The next one is the natural quality of Pitta is sharp. Pitta by nature is sharp, and they tend to have sharp features, sharp eyes, and a sharp tongue maybe sometimes. So now we want to bring in the opposite quality, which is smooth. So the smooth quality is mildness in foods, in flavors, and in activities. So when we think of the sharp quality is sharp flavors, spices, anything heating. We think of things like cayenne pepper, raw onion, garlic, wasabi, mustard seeds. All those are considered heating. So in summertime, if you have a high Pitta dosha or a Pitta imbalance, you want to avoid those spices and opt for mild flavors. Now, generally, you want to stay away from most of the spices because, as we know from my spice podcast episode, that most spices are heating. However, there are a few which you can add, and those are cardamom and fennel is cooling, and coriander, we already spoke about, is cooling as well, and of course mint. So those are the ones you could add, but most of the other spices you do want to stay away from because they will increase the heat in your body. Now, another way you can bring in this smooth quality to cool the Pitta is to do calming activities. So Pitta by nature is very competitive, very intense, and particularly in exercising as well as in work. So in your exercise, this is not the time to be doing intense training or running in the midday sun. This is the time for doing more cooling, calming activities. Like swimming is excellent. Swimming in the sea, the ocean, where it's cool, that would be excellent for you. Keeping your exercise to 70% of your max, below 70%. So you don't want to be exercising, even if you're in the gym and it's air conditioned, you still don't want to be exercising to 80-90% of your max. And by what I mean by that is, you should be exercising at a level where you can talk in a full sentence to long phrases. Okay, so you don't want to be going to the point where you can only talk in short phrases or words where you're out of breath. You want to keep it at a pace where you can hold a conversation or at least talk in a sentence here and there. That would be the best. And you definitely want to avoid working out in the Pitta time of day from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So working out either in the cool of the morning or in the evening and keeping the activities down. So trying to avoid any competition, any intensity, because that's just going to increase the Pitta, and then you're just going to develop those signs of imbalance that we talked about earlier. So that's for the smooth quality. So we're taking control of that sharp quality and bringing the opposite of smooth with the food and the activities. Now, the next natural quality of Pitta is oily. So Pitta is naturally oily by nature. So now we want to bring in the opposite, which is dry. So you want to cook with less oil and definitely avoiding fried foods. Now, if you are using oils to cook with, coconut oil is a good option because it's cooling to Pitta, and it's a good one to cook with as well because it has a high burn point. But definitely avoiding any fried foods because that's going to aggravate the oily quality and it's going to aggravate Pitta. Also here, the astringent taste is very cooling. Now, astringent is anything that takes moisture from the body. So it brings in that dry quality. And it's if you put something in your mouth and you can feel it drain the water from your mouth, similar to what you get if you put an unripe banana, that kind of feeling in your mouth. But foods that are naturally astringent are beans, like chickpeas, black beans, any beans, green apples, cranberries, pomegranate, leafy green vegetables, those ones we talked about earlier, so they can be bitter and astringent, and broccoli and cauliflower. Now you can see with this list that some of these are vata provoking, like the beans and the broccoli and the cauliflower. So again, doing the test on your body, if you have these astringent vegetables or legumes, how do they feel in your body afterwards? If you're getting excessive gas and bloating, well, then you know maybe you have a little bit of a vata imbalance and they're not good for you. So always checking in with your body. I always recommend, as you know, doing a consultation, because I'm giving general advice for everybody, but in Ayurveda there's no one size fits all, because we each have our own unique mind-body type. So I do encourage you to do a private consultation with me. We can do that online. I'll put the link in the show notes, because then I can really tailor things to you. Whereas this is general advice, it's great tips from Ayurveda, it's great guidelines, but if you really want a strategy just specific for you, well then contact me. Okay. So that was the dry quality. So again, avoiding the excess oil and the fried foods and bringing in that astringent taste. The next quality that we're going to look at is light. So lightness is a natural quality of Pitta. And then we want to bring in the opposite quality now during the summer of heaviness, okay? And this goes to, if you recall earlier, I said that the summer season can also have some vata qualities to it, like the expansiveness and the lightness. So heaviness is an important quality, because this will ground the lightness of vata as well. So how do we bring in the heavy quality into our summer season? Well, we want to bring in grounding foods and grounding activities. That's how we're going to bring it in. Now, the sweet taste is very pacifying to the Pitta dosha. And you can think of the sweet taste also as very grounding. And some of the sweets foods I'm going to mention now have a grounding quality, meaning that they have a heavy quality. So think of something, for example, like sweet potatoes. They're sweet by nature, they have the sweet taste, and they're very grounding, they're very dense. So too are things like dates. Dates are very good as a little snack food. You don't want to obviously eat too many of them because they've got quite a bit of sugar. But, 2 or 3 dates make a wonderful snack. They're very grounding. They're sweet. Figs also. Sweet fruits, any sweet fruits. Again, going to your farmer's market, seeing what's in season. But things like mangoes and watermelons are very grounding and very sweet. And also having some grains. Grains are considered sweet. So you could have grains in the middle of the day, allowing you to digest them well when your digestive fire is the strongest in the middle of the day. So things like rice or quinoa or any other grains that you like, they can be very grounding for both the Pitta and Vata this time of year. Then grounding activities that you could do to bring in that heaviness quality is like restorative yoga or meditation. I already mentioned that you definitely don't want to be doing intense exercise in the summertime. So see this as your time off to kind of calm and restore your body. Maybe if you do a lot of sport, which Pitta types tend to do because they love that competition. They have that natural muscular body and have that intensity and that drive to do sport, and they're competitive. So ideally you're doing your main sports in winter and spring. And summer should ideally be your off season, where you're just allowing your body to rest and restore. And to bring in that heavy quality now, you could do things like restorative yoga and meditation. So it's calming, it's grounding. The restorative yoga is slow. You're on the floor. There's no competition. There's no heat in the yoga studio. It's all very chilled and relaxed. And that would be really helpful for you right now to maintain balance, to avoid those signs of imbalance. Okay, let's move on to the next quality. So the next quality is acidic. That's the natural quality of Pitta, is acidic. So now we obviously want to bring in alkaline. So adding more alkaline foods to the diet to balance the acidity with seasonal fruits and vegetables. So this would be like leafy green vegetables, avocado, asparagus, coconut, chard, cantaloupe. These are very alkalizing to the body. So too is lemon. So having your lemon water first thing in the morning, adding maybe some lemon on your salads. Anytime you're having some salads in the middle of the day, squeeze some lemon, organic lemon on there. That would be very good. Avoiding, of course, caffeine, avoiding too much alcohol this time of year, because that can be very acidic. So we want to definitely make sure that we're looking more towards alkaline foods this time of year. So the next quality we're going to look at is mobile. Mobile or mobility is a natural quality of the Pitta dosha. So the opposite of mobile is static. And this again comes into our activities, static and stabilizing activities like meditation, like just relaxing in the afternoon, in particular between maybe that Vata time of day, where from 2 to 6 p.m. that we're taking some period of time during that range of hours for some static activities, and that could be reading or meditation or calming breath work, listening to calming music. It could be doing your creative activities. If you're in work, you're having less intensity at this time of day. You just really want to have things that are more calming, diffusing those cooling, calming essential oils in the office, like lavender maybe, and try not to have too much intense meetings or activity at this time of the day. So just be aware that you see the trend here is all about keeping Pitta cool and calm and balanced. Now the final quality we're going to look at here is liquid. So liquid is a natural quality of Pitta, and we want to bring in the opposite, which is dense, and that comes again with the grounding foods with less oil. So things that would be dense in nature would be things like pasta, hummus, guacamole. They could all be considered dense. Oatmeal too, although at summertime you don't really want hot foods, so you could do like an overnight oats, so doing for your breakfast, which would be great. So you could take some oats, organic oats ideally, and then use a nut milk on them. Coconut milk, for example, would be very cooling for you. Put things in there like some shredded unsweetened coconut. Maybe you could cut up some dates or raisins in there. That's sweet grounding. You could put things like sunflower seeds in there. Maybe a little bit of cinnamon, which can be heating, but it will help balance your blood sugars. So you could put a little bit of cinnamon in there. You could things like chia seeds, which are very hydrating, would be great in there. But allowing that to soak overnight, so that the oats soak up all the liquid, and then taking it out in the morning before you eat it, maybe an hour or so before, to allow it to come to room temperature so it's not cold when you're eating it. But that would be a good idea for something grounding for breakfast. So you can see with these qualities that there is a general theme. You want to avoid the spice. You want to avoid the oil. You want to avoid anything too acidic or too intense. Everything should be cool, calm, and have a grounding quality to it. And you also definitely want to avoid the less intensity and less competition, and have more fun. So summer should be about cooling, surrendering, and moderation, and enjoying life. Let go of those intense workouts you were doing, and just kind of sit back and enjoy the season. So rather than trying to fight it and then bringing up that excess heat, it's just going with the flow in summertime, having fun with the family and friends. Now, we need to also be aware at the end of summer. So we've gone through several months of heat, and then at the end of summer, there can be an accumulation of heat in the body. And this is when Ayurveda recommends doing a cleanse, because that accumulation of heat at the end of summer, which is built up in the body, can cause those imbalances to come out. And it can cause imbalances in both Pitta and you can see some vata imbalances there. So it would be the excess heat that we talked about earlier, the skin infections, the loose bowel movements. Maybe you might get digestive problems. There might be excessive activity in the mind that's coming with vata. And that's why at the end of summer, as we're transitioning into autumn or fall, that's when it's a great time to do a cleanse, to remove any excess heat, and then help you transition into the fall vata season in balance. Because if you did not get rid of that excess heat at the end of summer, this could lead to both pitta and vata imbalances as you enter into autumn. So you'll hear more about that as we come towards the end of summer, but just keep that in mind that at the end of summer, it's a really good time to do our annual seasonal cleanse to make sure that you're transitioning into vata season, feeling grounded and definitely keeping the mind and body balanced. Now, the key to staying balanced in your body is just really listening to it, tuning into your body and listening to the subtle signals it's given you. Each symptom is drawing our attention to an area that needs attention. And what I like to do is really empower my clients to take charge of their own health by educating them on their unique constitution and what it feels like when you're out of balance and how to bring yourself back into balance naturally. And with this knowledge, you can take charge of your own health and well-being. So you really feel empowered and confident to make your own decisions. So this is why I put this information out there, because I want you to be aware of what happens to your body during the summer season and to be able to enjoy summer without having to deal with any of these imbalances. Now, I have a special surprise for you. I actually have a free 3-day smoothie cleanse challenge coming up on June 25th. So we're going to do it the 25th to the 27th. Now, as I just said, in Ayurveda, we do 2 seasonal cleanses a year, the transition from spring to summer, and then the transition from summer to autumn. And these are great to do. I do them online, and they're more intense 21-day cellular cleanse. However, at the start of summer, I like to do a 3-day smoothie cleanse. And this is great just to give your digestive system a break with the easy digestible smoothies, so it can help improve our digestion. It can help increase our energy. There's a natural weight loss. It can increase, of course, the fiber because we're using whole fruits and vegetables. So that excess fiber helps to balance our blood sugar and aids in elimination of toxins. And I prefer the smoothies to the juices because the juices tend to, because it doesn't have the fiber in it, tends to spike our blood sugar. So then we have that crash, whereas the smoothies help with the release of sugar and then keeps us satisfied longer. And it's a natural anti-inflammatory cleanse. It reduces our pains and aches. It's very alkalizing for the body. And with this cleanse comes along clearer skin, healthy hair and nails. We'll get a boost of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, which will in turn boost our immune system. We'll feel an improved mental clarity and focus, and it will also support our gut health. It will help reset our taste buds, reduce cravings. Plus, it's just tasty to do. So in this 3-day smoothie cleanse challenge, you have 5 smoothies a day, and I've been doing it for a few years now. I really enjoy it because it just helps keep the body ticking over. You know, we've done the deep cellular cleanse. It's springtime now. It's been a while since I've done a cleanse. And so this is nice just to prevent any accumulations of toxins and also just to go into summer season feeling more balanced. And, you know, the accumulation of toxins can manifest in our bodies by feeling run down, a general lack of energy. You could have, you know, weak digestion, maybe feeling bloated, excessive gas or heaviness or lethargy after meals. Maybe you have constipation, or on the other end of the scale, you could have loose stool or diarrhea. Maybe if you have a foggy mind, inability to concentrate, or, you know, the ama shows up on the tongue in the morning, that white coating on our tongue, if that's looking very thick, that's a sign of excess toxins. So this is just a nice 3-day cleanse. Obviously, it's not a deep, intense detox, so that's why I don't use the word detox, but it just gives our body a break from the onslaught of toxins that we have constantly in our society. And it just helps us to give ourselves a little boost. Like I said, it's free. So if you head on over to the show notes, you can find the link there, and then I will email you the recipes. And then the only other thing you have to do is join the Elements Healing and Wellbeing Facebook page if you haven't done so already, and I'll be going on there daily to give you tips and advice, and we'll support each other on there as we go through the 3 days of smoothies. So you can head over to the show notes, or you can go to my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com/3-day cleanse. Okay, so you can check that out. It's under the events tab on my website, and the drop down box you'll see the 3-day cleanse. So I hope you can come and join me on that as we prepare for summer. It's a nice way to go into summer. It will definitely help you shed a few pounds, and also going into summer feeling energetic and just feeling good in your body and mind. So I hope you can join me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your support as always. And if you're enjoying the show, leave a review. That would be really helpful to help others find the show. And if you know of anybody who will be interested in this 3-day cleanse, please let them know. You can forward this episode to them and let them know about the cleanse, and the more the merrier. Okay, take good care of yourself and be well. And I look forward to seeing you on the cleanse.